What's that phrase, Frankie, that Aaron Rodgers said before the season? If they win, we're the greatest. If we lose, it's the same old Jets. Well, it's the same old Jets. The New York Jets lose their fourth straight game to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football in prime time to Russell Wilson, starting his first game of the season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 37-15 final. And we're here to talk about it. This is the Gang's All Here post-game live show. I'm Ryan Sampson, the producer and host of the show. And that's my guy, Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. We're here to talk about this game. We're going to break it down. We're going to react. We have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. I know Frankie probably has a lot to say as well. But overall, my first...
I'm actually speechless. I'm speechless tonight. I may not say a word. I have nothing to say. I cannot believe what's going on. So maybe you'll just talk the whole time. So
No, I think I have a lot to say. I'm going to start off with saying this no longer. First off, the season's over. Let's just be real. The Jets season is over. I don't give a crap about you can go on a run, the blah 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 stretch. We got Devontae in the building. We got Hassan Reddick signed. We're all in. We got potential, talent. No. Tonight was another example. It's the same old Jets. Doesn't matter how much talent you have. Doesn't matter how much coaching you think you have. Doesn't matter if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback behind center. It is the same old Jets. I'm tired of it. I can't stand watching this franchise continue to have these dysfunctional seasons. And they keep blowing up on themselves before Halloween, Frankie. We haven't even finished October and the season is over. 2-5. You're 3 games back in the AFC East. And in a year, in a season when the AFC is down tremendously. The Kansas City Chiefs looked terrible today, even though they won. I am sick and tired of watching the same godforsaken team and franchise by Woody freaking Johnson. It's on him. But above all else, he gave the keys to the franchise to Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers, on prime time, got his best buddy and looked like crap tonight. That game was on Aaron Rodgers tonight, plain and simple. That loss tonight is on Aaron Rodgers. The interceptions, the misses, guys wide open, he can't hit. The continuous throws downfield where you're going, where are you going with the ball, Aaron? Where are you throwing the ball? I'm sick and tired of it, Frankie. I'm done. I'm going to continue to watch every game because I have to as a job. But before I can throw it to you, Frankie, I'm going to continue watching the rest of the season. But do not sell me that this team is a playoff team because it's not. It's a joke, and everyone's getting fired at the end of the season, plain and simple.
Ryan, do you know what happened here? And do you know what happened this season? Do you know the reality of this whole situation? Building a winner in sports is difficult. It takes time. It takes consistency. It takes focus. It takes a culture. We look at our favorite baseball team, right? We're both Yankee fans. They've been trying to get there for years. 16, 17, 18, 19. It takes a long time to build an actual winner, to build a culture. This team thought that they could come in here and they could bring in Old Man Jenkins. They could bring in all of his buddies. They could bring in aging vets that nobody else wanted to sign, but we signed them. We signed Tyron Smith. We signed Alan Lazard. We brought in Morgan Moses. We brought in whomever, Mike Williams. Nobody wanted Mike Williams. We did, though, right? This team does not know, this franchise, this ownership, this GM, whoever you want to blame, they don't know how to build a culture. You cannot do what Brady did in Tampa. You're not going to do what Peyton did in Denver. When I heard people say that these are apples and oranges or apples and pistachios, they're not the same things. They're 2 different things. And I said pistachios because I had some before from my my uncle in Sicily, and they're actually phenomenal. But this is not a winner. You could see it. Every time we take 1 step forward on offense, we take 2 steps back. Every time that we think we have a drive that's going to end in a touchdown, it doesn't. Every game that we think we could potentially blow a team out, I thought at a point tonight we would have blown these guys out. No, we got blown out. No, we've lost 4 games in a row. No, our playoff chances now are around 4-5%. But with all this negativity, right? With all of this stuff we're going to hear tomorrow morning, we're going to hear tonight, season's not over yet. It's not. It's not over until it's over. It's not over until you're mathematically out. The Packers were 2-5 last year, and I'm not here to blow hope smoke up your behind, but I'm going to let you know football's a weird game. This team overall thought they could sort of microwave success, make it easy. It's not easy to build a winner, period. And this team was too new. We had too many new parts. Look at the other team. Look at Pittsburgh. Tomlin's been there for 18 years. Do you think we're ever going to have a coach in our franchise history that's going to be there for more than 15 years? They've had Tomlin there for 18 years. But man, I don't know. I'm on both sides of the fence. Last week I was out of it because I knew last week's game was part of a cycle that could potentially get really out of whack. Where, as you're saying, it's not even close to Halloween. Halloween's in 11 days. We're a week and a half from Halloween.
Do you know how hard it is to come back at a 2-5 to start the season? Do you know how hard that is?
Oh yeah, no, it's like 5%. If 100 teams do it, 5 will do it. But the Packers were a team last year that did do it, so it could happen.
All right,
it's happened. It's happened as recently as last year. I'm just saying. Tonight,
Aaron Rodgers, your quarterback. Tonight, 24-39, 276 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions on the season. Aaron Rodgers, he now has 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had a QBR of barely 70 tonight, a QBR of 48.5 for the season. He is having his statistically worst season of his career. This is worse than his 2022 season, where he threw for 12 interceptions and 26 touchdowns and 3,600 passing yards. He's having a worse season than he did that year, for last year with the Packers, when a lot of people were starting to wonder, is Aaron kind of washed? And I'm going to be honest with you, he looks washed. He can shake his head, and we can all blame Garrett Wilson for the dropped wide open pass. That was his second interception. Fine. The other one, ugly. The first interception before first half, you have all the momentum. You're driving down the field, and you decide to throw a ball down the seam to Garrett, and you didn't see the safety trailing right there. You threw it right in his hands. I know it was a great play by Bishop, but still, you threw it, and you shouldn't have thrown it. And guess what? Steelers go right down the field. Score. You gave all the momentum back to the Steelers. That's on you, buddy. That's on you. How many times did he try to throw to Davante Adams on third down? And how many times did he miss him? First series.
Are you surprised?
Am I surprised that he's missing guys wide open?
No, are you surprised that a 40, soon-to-be 41-year-old quarterback is not playing to what he was when he was in his mid-30s? Why is this so surprising to anybody? I knew it was going to be like this. It's
surprising because we were promised a bill of goods that is no longer good. We were sold a mission this year, and Frankie, it's done. The mission's gone. Wipe it. Ambassador Johnson, it's over, buddy. It's over. You have no chance with this team. You fired your head coach. You try to blame it on him. You brought in the quarterback's best friend wide receiver in Davante Adams. You traded a pretty high draft pick for him. You're paying a lot of money for him. You're paying 3 different receivers over $10 million. You brought in a left tackle that no one else wanted, that looks banged up, looks old. You brought in Morgan Moses. You tried everything to build around this offense for Aaron Rodgers. You even brought in Nathaniel Hackett, and then you demoted him and you put Todd Downing in. None of it's working. None of it's working. That's what I'm trying to say to everyone here. You could say, oh, the potential. Breece Hall, he looked great tonight. Breece Hall keeps running into defenders. What am I missing here? He had a couple of nice plays. The nicest play was the broken play from Rodgers to him, and he broke free for like a 50-yard gain. That was it. Like the touchdown run, that was great blocking up front by the offensive line. This team continuously takes 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And that's on coaching, that's on scheme, and that's on the overall. The players can't freaking execute, man. I'm tired of watching it, Frankie. I'm tired of watching bad football. That's what that was tonight. bad football. You were unprepared. You looked terrible again tonight. They couldn't tackle the defense. We didn't even talk about the defense yet. The run defense looked like shit again. Shit. They got run over. They got steamrolled. They ran the same play action naked bootleg to the tight end 3 times to number 80. How are you not adjusting to this?
Let me get into one quick thing. After 7 games, the Jets this year are averaging 18.3 points per game at 2-5. You know, the 2023 Jets last year were 4-3, also averaging 18 points a game. So you could make an argument that the Jets last year, after 7 games, on both sides of the ball were better than the 2024 Jets, which is insane to think about. But with that being said, we made our bed with Aaron Rodgers, with now Devontae Adams. Hassan Reddick's coming back tomorrow. He'll be here. I know how excited you are for that one. This team is in this window of, I don't know how many games are left. What do we got? 10 games left. We could have more if we make the playoffs. Doesn't look like that. But this is it. You got 10 games. Joe Douglas, you have 10 games. Ulbrich, you might only be here for 10 games. They're going to go all in, Rye, for the next 10 games. And that's all you could do at this point. You know what? I am not as mad tonight as I was last week or even the week.
This
you know
Steelers
why?
team's
Because
terrible. Russell Wilson was throwing moon balls. He was throwing moon balls. He was throwing, here you go, defender or offensive player. One of you's going to catch this damn thing. Go ahead. I'm going to throw it up there. It looked like the Jets had no idea that Russell Wilson throws moon balls. The man's been throwing moon balls since freaking 2015. That's his deep throw. I did breakdowns on this at freaking ESPN. Russell Wilson throws the moon ball better than any other quarterback in the NFL. And the Jets look completely unprepared. Like it was the first time a moon ball's ever been thrown on them on a deep shot. Sauce Gardner, What are you doing? Brendan Eccles, what are you doing? How are you guys not turning around looking to play the ball? You're letting Pat Fryermuth and George Pickens make circus catches down the sideline on you. That's on preparation, man. That's on preparation. That's a joke. That is a joke.
They want it more than we do. Those guys.
So how are you going to sell me a bill of goods? You're going all in if you're telling me that the other team is all in more than we are.
They better figure it out.
They better figure it out. We already know the answer to this. We know the answer.
I know we do. We lost 4 games in a row. We should have won 2 of them. I think you could make an argument we could have won 3 of them. We didn't win any of them. It's done. It's in the past. Tonight, you got beat. That's it. Flat and simple. Plain and simple. You got beat. You came out flat, and you lost to a team that was just better prepared than you. What do you do from here moving forward? You're done? The season's over?
Yeah, season's over.
All right. Well, I'll tell you right now, they don't think the season's over. They have Hassan coming in here tomorrow. They have to figure out how to make this team go on a run. My biggest concern is the quarterback, though. To your point earlier, what are they going to do to get him on the same page? He's still not on the same page with Garrett Wilson. By the way, that interception's not on Rodgers. That's on Garrett Wilson.
I said that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm just saying. So
the first one is, though. Frankie, the first one gave all the momentum back to the Steelers. You had the chance to step on the Frankie. They could have, like, you don't understand what I'm saying. They could have gone down the field and scored a touchdown or even a field goal, and they would have been up by 3 scores at that point, and you would have taken Steelers completely out of the game. They were talking about putting Justin Fields in the game in the second half. That's how much you were up and blew this game. And now it turned into a blowout the other way. That's insane. That's insanity, Frankie. That's not a head coach. That's not a quarterback struggling. That's not a defense struggling. That's just a bad football team. That's what they are. Plain and simple. They are a bad football team. And that's continuously the same old Jets. That's it. That is it. You cannot sell me any other bill of goods. You can win. You could blow out the Patriots next week and look like the freaking 72 Dolphins. I don't care. This team is a bad football team. And until they decide to actually turn this season around, which they never will, because we already know how the story ends, the season's over. The season's over. I'll watch. You got me already hooked. I'll watch. But guess what? I am not going to get my hopes up. I am not going to be looking forward to any game now the rest of the season. I'm just going to watch with the mentality of I'm going to analyze, say that was a good football play, that was a good scheme, that was a bad scheme, that was a bad play, that was bad play design. That's it. That's how I'm watching football now with the rest of the season for the Jets. They don't deserve anything else. They don't deserve my emotional support because they don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. They've pissed on us as fans, and they disrespected us as fans. That's the truth. By putting this slop on the field again and again and again.
It could be. I'm just letting you know, and I'm going to let fans know. You may, and others, and myself too, we may have had unrealistic expectations for this Aaron Rodgers experiment. Yes, he's not.
You don't believe that.
You all thought,
that.
we all thought he's coming in here doing a Tom Brady reincarnation from Tampa Bay. That's not what he is. He's not the leader that Brady is. He's not the pocket passer that Brady is. It might take him a few years to get this system moving, or it won't. He unfortunately got hurt last year, and we're at this position where he's in year 2. They're trying to make something happen. It's not working. My biggest issue outside of those games that we threw away, my biggest issue is this team makes the worst mistakes and the dumbest plays at the most inopportune times. They literally shoot themselves in the foot anytime they're putting together anything that will get them some momentum moving forward to potentially win a game. They can never win a game. My friend texted me this, Kenny Shane. He goes, it's almost more frustrating watching this offense than the offenses of the past couple years, because at least you knew the offenses a few years ago or last year were so bad that you didn't really expect anything from them. This offense, you expect a lot from because you see spurts of it, and then they don't deliver the same way as the offenses that stunk. Kind of interesting point, and it's actually pretty true. You see flashes, but again, you're not going to win a football game in Pittsburgh where you have 15 carries for 54 yards, averaging 3.6 yards a carry. Braylon Allen has fallen off a map here. That guy's not even on the team anymore the last 3 or 4 weeks. He was the bright spot in this offense early on. Maybe there's a little correlation there. I don't know. Ryan, I honestly, my mother would love to hear this because I always have the answers, right? I don't have any answers anymore. I don't know anything. I don't understand anything with this team. All I'm going to do is look at what's going on and hope for the best. And what do they say? Hope for the best, expect the worst. I'm not an expect the worst kind of guy, but right now I'm starting to become one with this team.
I think you're being a little bit, how do I say this nicely? I think you're being a little bit ignorant to what this team is and has been this year by saying what you said about Rodgers and them not getting to the point that they want to get to because it takes time. I've seen it. You've seen it. You can take Hall of Fame quarterbacks, displace them. Matt Stafford's done it with the Rams. And I know it's great coaching and it's a different thing. But I've seen it with Brady. I've seen it with Manning. And I've seen it with Matt Stafford. And I see it with Jared Goff. You can take great quarterbacks, displace them. Baker Mayfield, you could take them and put them in a different situation and they can adjust. And they can become a successful team. And they become a good offense. It plain and simple is, and I just pointed it out, Frankie, at the beginning of the show again, and I'll point it out to all the fans. This is a worse statistical season of Aaron Rodgers' career. He is statistically having a worse season than what he did in 2022. And people like to put that season behind them because they like to blame the broken thumb. But a lot of people were talking about Aaron Rodgers and how bad it looked. And I can tell you for a fact, a lot of people were saying Aaron Rodgers looks washed. He looks done. He looks like he fell off a cliff after the 2 MVP seasons. And there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. It's because Mother Nature and age catches up to people. And it's hit Aaron Rodgers hard because tonight was more of the same. It was more, I'm missing guys wide open. I'm forcing balls where I shouldn't be. I'm throwing interceptions at the worst times possible. I am not getting this offense in any rhythm whatsoever. I am checking way too late at the line of scrimmage where the play clock is running down to 0 again. I'm missing guys like Davante Adams open on a slant on 3rd down.
Batted balls too. Rodgers never has those. You had like 4 or 5 tonight. I never see Rodgers do that. That was my biggest concern. big fourth down at the end, batted ball. That ain't Aaron Rodgers.
You
He's
add
uncomfortable.
you
He's
add
uncomfortable.
up.
I don't know if he's washed. He's uncomfortable in this
He is
offense. Whatever this
uncomfortable.
offense.
He's uncomfortable because he's not good anymore, man. He looks not good.
I'm
Like,
not on that
I
wavelength.
don't know what else to tell you, dude. He doesn't look good.
He doesn't look
it's
bad
straight
either,
up.
though. Not to play this like
He's not Zach Wilson. Listen, he's not Zach Wilson. He's not Tim Boyle. He's not Tyler Huntley. He's not Anthony Richardson. He's not that bad. But you know what he is? He's a below average quarterback. That's what he is right now.
I don't know about that.
10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions is below average quarterback play. He doesn't even throw for over 300 this season. It's easy to throw for 300 yards in the NFL today, in today's game. And you got weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons. You can't tell me they're not open. You can't tell me. You can't blame it on the scheme anymore. You can't blame it on the offensive line anymore. You can't blame it on the head coach anymore. You can't blame it on the GM anymore. You can't blame it on the owner anymore. You are solely responsible for this, Aaron Rodgers. It's all on you. I'm done defending him, Frankie. It's time for the Roosters to come home. All the heat is now on him. And guess what? He's welcomed it, and he deserves it.
Can I ask you a hypothetical? Or not a hypothetical.
Washed. Aaron Rodgers is washed.
Can I ask you an actual thing that I think's happening? I don't think our defense is as good as it was last year.
No, they're paper tigers. I've told you this. They're paper tigers.
So I think the offense is a little better, but I think the defense is a little worse. So it's basically a similar squad. You're giving up more yards on defense. Team. Yeah. It's a below average team. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but
talented,
I do know,
but a below average team, bud. That's all they are.
So why did they go out and trade for Devontae Adams? Why is Hassan Reddick coming here tomorrow?
Look at the owner, like Ambassador Johnson.
Do they believe? Do you have any belief in this team to make a playoff run?
10 games left.
You're 2-5 from last
Frankie,
week.
This was it. I said tonight was it. This is the must-win game, and you blew it. You blew it. You blew it. You blew it. Aaron Rodgers, you blew it. It's all on you. It is all on you. And guess what? Now the fans are coming out for you, bud. Number 8, you're getting run out of town. Because this looks kind of messed up now. Not kind of. It is messed up. You've used this franchise as your personal soundboard in all the dysfunction that this franchise has gone through for you. It's a joke. It is a joke. We are a joke. And we're going to continue to be the butt of all jokes. It's sad. I hate it. I can't stand it. I can't stand the NFL treating the Jets franchise like an absolute joke. Because guess what? It is. It's a circus. Welcome to the circus, everyone. That's what it is. Next Sunday night, another circus. Come on down. Watch Woody Johnson, Ambassador Johnson ruin the franchise. Watch Aaron Rodgers ruin the franchise because he's washed up.
By the way, we weren't missing kicks tonight. I'm like, oh, maybe we'll miss kicks tonight. No, our kicks were getting blocked tonight. Like when you think something can't happen, like telling me, I know Pittsburgh's very good with their special teams coach at blocking kicks, but like it's ridiculous. Where there's a weakness or there's a unit on this team that is not there, they will get exposed. They will get exposed. We have all these elements of our team that are weaknesses are getting exposed in these primetime games. Our run defense, our bad special teams play. I don't think the team's focused in general. So I think when you're not focused and you don't have talent at certain spots, you're going to get exposed. Pittsburgh's a better coach team than us, man. Up and down. No, I don't know why I even thought we had a chance to win this. In the beginning, I thought there was something there. You said it again. I don't want to I don't want to bring up what you tell me personally, but you said it before the game. I have a bad feeling. And you've been, I think, 3-0 since whenever you text me that, by the way. But man, listen, at this point, I don't know. I can give you tips, or not you. I'm saying I can give the team some advice as to what I think they should do, but maybe it doesn't matter. But you got to stop the run. You can't have 149 yards on the ground given up to Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Again, over 4 yards a carry. They gashed us up on the ground. Russell Wilson looked like a Super Bowl winning Russell in Seattle. You can't have it. Pickens is going up. Everything that's contested, he basically got them all tonight. Sauce is becoming a little bit of a liability, although he had some nice plays at the end. Our other corners, Brandon Echols, really aren't good when it comes to staying their ground and being physical at the point of attack on the ball. Echols is opportunistic, but he's not the best at disrupting contested catches. Our safeties are a liability. We talked about the D-line. I don't know. This defense to me is really underwhelming. I thought they could be, and I'm thinking this based on what they did in the first 3 or 4 games of the year. I saw a defense that maybe could get better. Is something happening now that Ulbrich has to be the head coach? Maybe his focus, his time and energy is not being spent on the defense as much. It's being spent on the general.
Same, Frankie. The talent is the same on the defense.
It looks worse to defense.
It looks worse because
left.
it
And I'm
is
not saying
worse.
Salah
It is worse
with the defense necessarily, but there's something wrong with the defense the last couple of weeks for sure.
Hey, Chris, buddy, what franchise you call it? SoCo franchise has been a joke for 60 years. Don't act like it's all new, you idiot in the green shirt. Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have time for this. We've been trying to defend this Jets franchise for years. We watch them because we love this team, and we've been to AFC Championship games, and it's been a playoff drought for 15 freaking years. And we really thought this year was going to be different, but joke's on us. The joke's on us. And guess what? The clown master is Aaron Rodgers. Frankie, that's it. It's him. It's all him.
So you got your bow and arrow out. You got Aaron right in the crosshairs.
What the hell has he done this year to deserve any defense anymore? Tell me. He got the head coach fired. He's got his best friend and wide receiver back. He's done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing with this offense. This offense is in shambles, Frankie. There is zero rhythm. Zero
rhythm. I agree with you there.
They take 1 step, 3 step back. How many times am I going to see you go up to the line of scrimmage and adjust with hand signals, and then the play clock runs out, and you got to burn timeouts in the third quarter? That's you, Aaron Rodgers. Don't blame the coordinator. That's you.
Yeah, Rodgers tonight.
Garrett Wilson taking dumbass false starts. Why aren't you ripping him into one?
That to me is inexcusable. You dropped a ball that got picked. You dropped another questionable ball, tough catch, but on the sideline at the 2-yard line that could have set you up to score. Then you come back a drive later and you get a false start. Do you think this went through my mind during the game? When these guys came in, Brees, Garrett, Sauce, I don't think they were coached up right. I think there's a discipline variable there that they just never got.
Do you hear yourself right now? Do you hear yourself?
What do you want me to tell you? Yeah, these guys get penalties all the time. These guys are
this is the same old Jets, man. This is what it's been for 30 years.
Why? Because of the coach?
Yes. The people that they brought in. Frankie,
so why did everyone think life, and I'm not saying I thought this, we thought with Ulbrich here, it's going to be more accountable, the team will be more disciplined.
Who thought that? Who thought that?
What do you mean who thought that? Have you been on Twitter and looked at what people are saying?
Those people are idiots. Then you don't know what football works. It's the same it's the same damn formula. It's the same people running this team. Don't get it twisted. Just because you fired Salah, he's a face. This team has the same personnel, has the same issues, has the same discipline problems, is same sloppy football, same scheme. Dude, you just laid out perfectly all the things that Pittsburgh did tonight to outplay you and out-scheme you and out-coach you. That's what they did. They whooped your ass tonight on prime time because they have a better coach running the show over there. Come on, man. It's the same damn
I'm not
story
disagreeing with you. I'm saying, how does it change? What is the solution?
You need a new coach. You need a new...
Well, they think they have one now.
Stop. Jeff Ulbrich is not a head coach. I'm sorry.
He's probably not. Tonight might have been the game.
The only reason Woody Johnson kept him is because he heard Kyle Shanahan was calling to see if he wanted to be the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. He wanted to fire Ulbrich after the first season. People forget about that. Give me a break. It's because the owner. It all starts from the top. Woody Johnson's an embarrassing owner. He's an embarrassment to this franchise. He's ruined this franchise. He's done nothing in 20 years. That's my favorite part. When he tells all the reporters, "Well, I've done this for 15 years, so I think I know something about this." After you fire Robert Saleh, what the hell do you know, buddy? The only time this franchise has been successful is when you let Eric Mangini draft all those amazing players. And Darrelle Revis and Nick Mangold to Brinkashaw Ferguson, David Harris he brought in. That was when the team was a stud. And then you fired him because you didn't like he was running the team more than you. Then you brought in your jockey and Mike Tannenbaum. Here's my salary cap guy. Here comes Mike Tannenbaum. I helped build the AFC Championship game. No, you didn't. Eric Mangini built these teams. And then you brought in a good head coach in Rex Ryan, and you let him actually coach some talented players and put them together. It's a joke, Frankie. This franchise is a joke because of the owner gave the keys to the wrong person again. And that's Aaron Rodgers, number 8. He doesn't want to hear it because I know what's going to happen tonight. He's going to speak in the postgame. Well, we really got to turn it up now. Well, we got no other opportunity. The only opportunity we have now is just to go out there and win football games because we got nothing else to do but just go out there and win. That's what they're all gonna. That's gonna be their marching orders tonight. Go out there and we're gonna have to win. That's it. We're just gonna have to go out there and win. Find a way to win. That's it. That's all we can think about. Can't think about losing. Can't think about this. Just got to move on. Think about winning. That's it.
Right now, the Jets have the fifth pick for all our NFL draft people out there. We didn't even get to Thanksgiving, everybody. We're not even close to Thanksgiving. We're not even close to Halloween, really. We're talking about the draft, though. Do you want to talk about the draft? Let's talk about the draft. No? Next week? Midweek? You want to do a show on Wednesday? I'll do a draft show. We don't have to talk about this here. Let's talk about this. But no, the Jets right now, we have the fifth pick in the draft. How interesting, right? Who would have thought that? Who would have thunk it, as they say?
So you decided to keep Greg Zuerlein. I want to keep going about this game tonight. You decided to keep Greg Zuerlein tonight, right? And you get a field goal blocked. And this was after another one, a PAT was blocked, right? Because they were called for illegal jumping off launching.
Which it wasn't,
right?
But whatever.
So then they decide to go up the middle and they actually destroy you and they block the field goal. And then how many times tonight we see Xavier Gibson fumble on the punt return? And then how many times did we see Isaiah Davis completely F up the kick returns and just look completely disheveled? And the kick return formations look terrible. So I laid out now 3 different examples, which happened multiple times, mind you, on special teams. So Brant Boyer, you kept him for how many years now? Through how many different regimes? You said he's a great special teams coach. Where the hell were you tonight, bud? You got outcoached by the Steelers coordinator. I saw him jumping up like it was Mike Westhoff over there.
You're right about that.
What am I missing here, Frankie? What am I missing here? Special teams decides to take a complete crap tonight on the. By the way, special teams has been a joke all season. All season. Why can't we get Malachi Corley, the guy that you guys were touted so high, and you released all the videos in the preseason and said we're trading up no matter what, we're getting Malachi Corley. Guy can't even make the active roster. Mike Williams didn't even report to practice. Is active tonight after all the rumors of trading for him, and you throw him the ball a bunch of times tonight. More than I thought Devontae Adams got targeted tonight. What the hell is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you. There's this guy named Aaron Rodgers, and he decided to hand the keys to the franchise over to him. I can't say this enough times to all you fans out there. By the way, I do want to thank the 1,000+ fans that are watching right now across all the YouTube, social media channels for the Gangs Will Here Postgame Live Show. We appreciate you all supporting us and watching us. This is where I get to vent. This is where Frankie gets to vent.
Come the week after, please. The season's not over.
It's over. It is over, but we're going to keep talking about this because this is going to be just now the circus that we get to watch every single weekend. And I'm just going to laugh at it and mock myself at why the hell am I watching and putting myself through this. Yeah, Frankie.
So let me ask you a question. We have a bunch of people commenting. Shout outs to the chat gang. You guys are all killing it. And we're getting some strays, which I kind of like, rightfully so, because we're being a little bit off the wall. But you're cracking me up, Brad. I'm laughing here. I could listen to you all night, actually. But I'll say this. Somebody asked this question, and I'm curious what you think about this. Do you think the Jets at this point need to trade Mike Williams? And does the team need to start maybe selling off some of these assets? Why
not trade Allen Lazard, the guy who's got a 4-year deal?
I mean, why not trade someone on defense also if you want to get some value?
Doesn't he have the most value right now, Allen Lazard? I mean, he's having a great season.
On offense, he might, but it's like his value is tied with Aaron, so it's like it might not be what it looks like. But I'm saying, like, someone like a Jamian Sherwood, someone like Quincy's up for a deal at the end of the year. So
I'm not saying
I would do that. I'm here to ask the questions, right? Listen. I mean, like, if the year starts tailing out, do you want to sell some? You got to recoup some stuff. I mean, you gave up picks for Devontae, for Hassan, for Rodgers. You got picks leaving the door. Frankie, you want to rebuild?
You can convince me. Go ahead, go get picks, man. I don't care. I don't care anymore. That's the worst part about this.
Yeah,
the Jets have actually driven my motivation to watch them out the door. Like, I don't care anymore what you do with the franchise. I don't care because we know what the sum is at the end of the season. Aaron Rodgers retires, the Jets fire everyone, and we're going to start this whole goddamn cycle over again. That's what's going to happen. It's plain and simple, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
am I crazy? Am I wrong?
No, you're probably right. However, And this is a question, by the way, that was posed in the chat about selling off. So there's an argument for it. Obviously, you want to recoup a lot of the picks that you threw out the window for these vets that are not going to give you any value this year if you're not making the playoffs. They're basically wasted picks. Like, people have to realize that when you give up picks for vets on these in these short windows, which everyone always wants to do, give up a first for Devontae, give up 2 1s for this player, blah blah blah. Yeah, it sounds good until it doesn't work, and then it's terrible. You get hit twice because you don't make the playoffs, and then you lose those picks. But with that said, what's the argument for going now even more all in? Let's just say, is this team able to make a run, right? Is there any chance? If you look at the schedule, we have the weakest schedule left in the league.
Bro, we couldn't beat the Steelers tonight.
We're playing the Patriots. Texans are going to be rough. Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins, Jaguars, Rams.
Seahawks just blew out the Falcons at home.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be easy either, but they're coming here.
Where are you seeing this run? This is a below 500 team. This is an Aaron Rodgers 2022 team. You'd be lucky to get 9 wins this year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a little lucky with how the win-loss rolls out, because you could maybe, if you are 9-8, sneak in. But you know what? This is like playoffs. We're talking playoffs. This team can't even win a game. So, I mean, like, that's the real argument here. Like, win a game. I want to see this team put together a game from start to finish that they can win. But, Ryan, I don't know what to tell you at this point. I don't know what to tell you. I can critique them on the field, but you know what the funniest thing about this whole thing is? Do you know the thing that is messing me up so bad about this freaking team is the play on the field is not equating to the win-loss column. I see spurts where this team looks really good compared to the competition. I saw the Bills at half. They were down yesterday. They ended up winning. I see the Dolphins getting blown out now. You see teams, no one's really that impressive in the AFC. Yeah, you have the Chiefs, obviously. You have the Ravens, better, definitely. But I'm not looking out in football land. I'm not turning on the red zone or watching NFL Sunday Ticket, and I'm not impressed really with these teams I'm watching. And I'll see the Jets do things, and I'm like, damn, this team could be pretty good if they could get into the playoffs and gel. Right, we see spurts, though. Right, don't make it seem like tonight Brees didn't have some plays you're like, wow. Let's not make it seem like we don't see our defense was bad tonight. But
name me one pass play that was explosive tonight.
Garrett had a nice play at the end.
Are you kidding me?
On that mid slant, yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was
barely a 20-yard gain. How many air yards is Aaron Rodgers throwing?
I don't know what's up with that. You're right there.
They don't have an explosive passing game,
and Aaron always had that
because the man's afraid to pull the trigger because his arm is shot.
Yeah, it might be. It looked a little
dude.
Flat
It's not my.
You think his arm is shot because of age, injury,
yes,
both?
It's age. He can still throw with some of the best of them, but he does not have the deep ball talent anymore. I'm sorry. I know he can throw that Hail Mary like better than anyone else, but like this team cannot. There's not enough consistency for you to have any confidence going forward. And realistically, you look at the stats, you look at the film, and you look at the performances of the key players like Garrett Wilson tonight, Breece Hall in the past couple of games. These guys are too inconsistent. You can't rely on them. They're not performing the way you want them to because, bottom line, they're not being coached well. And second of all, they're not getting good quarterback play. And third of all, they're just probably not as good as we all thought they were. And that's what I've told you. I don't think Garrett Wilson is a 1. He's not. He's a 2. He's Calvin Ridley. I don't think Breece Hall is a true stud running back anymore. I think he's a really nice third down running back who probably can break a bunch of tackles. Great in the pass game. I think Chris Collinsworth kind of alluded to it, and I think he was saying it nicely, and he said it, and I kind of agree with him. Breece Hall's a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver.
It was an interesting point. I heard
he's a wide receiver that he has some nice moments during the run game. He does not impress me as a running back at all. Like, he impresses me as hell as a pass catcher. He's insanely good as a pass catcher. He ain't a running back, brother. Braylon Allen's a better running back than him. And they don't give Braylon Allen the running back chance anymore.
Can I give you a stat that's going to blow your mind?
Sure.
tonight's game, we were up at a point in tonight's game, right? We were up 15-6 in the late second quarter. We had 79.5% chance to win based on ESPN analytics. Then Rodgers, deep right to Lazard out of bounds. Breece Hall left. Rodgers threw the pick, and that was the beginning of the end. That pick was everything you needed to know about this 2024 Jets. When you think things are rolling, when you don't need to make a mistake because there's no reason to make that throw necessarily. It was late. It was a great play by the D-back, but it was still a late throw. You're just shooting yourself in the foot, man. And that's the key theme with this team is anytime there's a moment where you're thinking, damn, we got this. This is going to be what we've looked at, what we've dreamed of, what we've hoped for. You know, what all the conversations we had in the offseason, the Twitter space, the shows we've done, the podcasts you've done, XYZ. We see moments from this team that you think they could be really good, and they just constantly just blow it. Tyron hold, false starts, drop passes, miss kicks. The list goes on and on. It's tough to say who's to blame. I think it's the coaching, but it might not even be. It might be the players. It might be it's probably a combination of both, right? So I think this team needs to go into the offseason, depending upon how this season unfolds. Let's say they don't make the playoffs. They need to go into the offseason and really do like an audit on the entire roster. They need to look at every player. They need to look at value at every position. They need to see who actually fits what this team wants to do. And then you have a decision to make with the quarterback ultimately. Are you going to go into next year with the 41-year-old set to be 42 in December? Are you going to go into the year with him, run it back with Adams and that? Did they need time? I mean, you could always make excuses for time. Time is always your best friend when it comes to these experiments in sports, especially when it's your first year really doing it. But it's our second year, though. That's another thing I want people to realize. This is our second year with Aaron Rodgers. We already wasted a year. Granted, it wasn't necessarily his fault, but this is year 2 of this Aaron experiment. Some of us only thought it was going to be 2 years max. Now we're going to go into year 3. Is it going to be a year 4? But you got to think ahead.
No, why?
Because you don't have any other options at quarterback.
You draft a quarterback.
Good luck.
What do you mean good luck? This team's terrible. They're going to finish with a top 10 pick probably.
I'm just saying, good luck drafting a quarterback. It doesn't always work out.
Are you kidding me? Has it worked out drafting or trading for the Hall of Fame washed up quarterback? How many other ways you want to cut this thing, man? You keep drafting until you find one. Every team does that.
I mean,
every franchise does that.
But again, then that takes time. That takes another year, 2 years, 3 years. I'm saying,
Frankie, there's what's the point, dude? The season's over. It's Halloween. It's not even Halloween yet. Season's over. I got nothing else to look forward to besides looking for drafting a quarterback now. Because Aaron Rodgers ain't the future. Aaron Rodgers ain't working out, bro. I got news for you. It ain't working out next year either if we keep him. It's not. You can bring back Devontae and everyone else. It ain't working next year. Nope.
You do realize this team now, it's going to be, if we don't make the playoffs this year, which it's trending towards that, it's almost not a certainty, but it could be in a week or two. If we lose another one of these next 2 games, it'll be probably toast. 15 years without making the playoffs. Number 1 in American sports. If this team doesn't figure out next year, what are you going to go on 16, 17? What are we going to go 20 years without making the playoffs? Is that where this thing could get to? Then what does the owner do?
How else are you solving this?
Do you understand how crazy it is for a franchise? And I know you understand. I'm saying this sort of rhetorically.
Sell the franchise, Woody.
15. Yes, I agree. I think it would be best for him. He doesn't have to deal with this chaos and crap.
He is the arbiter of chaos. He is the sole reason why this franchise is a joke. Woody Johnson. He's a joke of an owner. He knows nothing about success. The man knows nothing about success, and he knows nothing about building a football franchise. It's clown behavior when you try to tell the media that you think you know how to build a successful team. It's a joke. And then for you to go on the media and go, Hassan Reddick, he can't even say his name right. Please come back. I'll bring you back. And then I got Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport saying Woody Johnson played a major role in Hassan Reddick coming back to the Jets today. Are you kidding me? The dude had to play this year. Otherwise, his contract would have told and he would have had to come back to you guys anyway next year. So it's a joke. You're a joke. You're basically pooping all over your GM. Like Joe Douglas has what does he do now? What does he do? I'm getting tweets from Adam Schefter saying that Woody Johnson played a major role in the reason why Hassan Reddick came back to sign with the Jets, Frankie? What?
Well,
what's the GM doing?
Do you want to know the story behind that, or do you want to skip over it? Joe Douglas was done with Hassan Reddick. When Hassan Reddick said he wanted to get traded, what did Joe Douglas do immediately? He came out with a statement within 5 minutes that he's not going to trade Hassan Reddick. They were not going to meet in any sort of middle because Joe Douglas felt that Hassan and CAA gave him basically a BS offer, a fake offer. So he was done with them. So the owner had to come in and say, hey, let bygones be bygones. I'll be the reason that he's here. It was a pride thing for Joe Douglas. And I'm not making an excuse for Joe Douglas in the way he handled that situation, because I don't think he handled it correctly. I didn't like when that statement came out. You don't come out with a statement when you're in negotiation with somebody and put your freaking foot in the sand and draw a line in the sand and say, you can't cross this line. It's my way or the highway. There is no your way. Your way doesn't work. So maybe you should try to change how you're doing things. But I think Joe Douglas will be here next year. I think they're going to go in another head coaching search. Oh, Joe Douglas will be here.
I'll bet you $100 Joe Douglas ain't here next year.
Fine. U Stadium app will make a take $100K points. It's $100 that Joe Douglas will be the GM of this team.
Here's the stipulation: the Jets have to miss the playoffs.
Done. If they miss, and then we'll put it in. If they have to miss the playoffs, if they don't miss the playoffs, all bets are off.
Correct.
He'll be here next year.
No,
what did the owner say last week, 2 weeks ago? What has he been saying? This is the best roster
Joe Douglas' contract is up. So you're telling me that the man that listens to the media more than anyone else and listens to the fans more than anyone else, the owner, he's not going to freak out when they miss the playoffs and everyone's coming and claiming for Joe Douglas is 21-60 now as GM. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you this: the only way you're going to be right is if Joe wants to get out of here. I don't
his
think
contract's up. I think he's done. I don't think he wants any more part of this franchise. Which I don't.
You might be right about that. That's the only way you're going to be right, because I think Woody Johnson.
But also, he's a terrible GM. Like, let's be real. He's a terrible GM. He's put this piece of crap together now.
I'm starting to now understand the Joe Douglas hate, because I've always been a Joe Douglas fanboy.
Me too. But now I have to. I turn myself on him now. He's done.
But this is the thing. We can blame, if you put on a piece of paper, right, every unit, every element, every player that is the New York Jets, you can literally blame every single person on that list. Has anyone exceeded expectations this year? Is there any unit of football that you feel like's done a better job? So is it everything, or is it a few big things that are making everything look bad? Everything's down. So the market's down. We're in a depression,
Frankie,
right?
They played better football last year with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. As a team, they played better football with Zach Wilson as a quarterback.
I don't know, man.
What do you mean? They won 7 freaking games last year with Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle.
Was a lot better though last year. Right?
So what am I missing here when I'm saying the team played better football with Zach Wilson at quarterback?
Yes, the team. I thought you were pointing to the offense. Yes.
No.
Okay.
I said the team played better football with Zach Wilson as their quarterback last year.
They did.
They were in games more than they are right now. They're not in games anymore.
They were 4-3 last year at this point.
I shouldn't even say that. No, they are in games. It's just tonight was bad, Frankie. I can't overstate this enough. Tonight was the worst possible outcome for the Jets, besides Aaron Rodgers going down with a season-ending injury. Tonight was the worst outcome. You got blown out on prime time after you were up at half, and you had all the momentum before halftime. And when he threw that dumbass interception down the middle of the field and Bishop picks him off, I knew right then and there, here we go. This is it. Aaron just completely took all the air out of the Jets' tires. And he's sitting there moping on the sideline, and he's throwing his hat, and he's moping, and he's sad, and he's plopping this, bleeping that. It's on you, dude. It's on you. All the freaking responsibility is on you. It's over for you, man. You're done in New York. I cannot wait for you to get your ass out of here, because I'm tired of your shit. It's bullshit every single week with this guy. It's excuse after excuse after excuse. That's the truth. You play like shit, Aaron. You're the reason this team keeps losing. You can't get this offense going. It's your offense. It's your offensive coordinator you brought in. It's your wide receivers you brought in. It's your offensive lineman that you brought in. This is all on you. And you are the reason this Jets football team is in hell right now. In hell.
Damn.
I'm tired of it. Jeff Ulbrich reacting to the advert. This is my favorite. Yeah, after the game. Jeff Ulbrich, what's going on with you tonight? What are your opening marks? That game, especially that second half, that's not who this team is. That's not good enough. And that starts with me. No shit, Sherlock. Now let's talk about what else you got to talk about. The Jets, how the Jets reached to adversity tonight against the Steelers or reacted to adversity. This has got to be an opportunity that we can grow from and become the team we're capable of becoming. Oh, isn't that so great, Jeff? Hey, Jeff, how do you respond when tonight's performance represents who the team is? If we accept that, then the season is lost. Yeah, I would agree. But guess what? The season is lost. Jeff, on the what about the lack of explosive plays tonight from the Jets offense? Believe me, we are searching for explosives.
Oh,
a lot of that is creating a consistent run game. We didn't run the ball well enough. We didn't. And then Garrett Wilson, what's going on with you tonight? The interception. That's on you, bud, right? What do you guys say about this? He says, the way I see it, the season ain't over. We still got everything out in front of us, and we have everything we need here. It's time to go play on game day and win games. Did I not just tell you that's what their marching cry is going to be, Frankie? That's literally what their cry is going to be. Garrett Wilson says his drop that led to the interception was a result of culmination of bad habits and not attacking the ball. I don't take it light after that. I was the reason that we lost that game. Shit can't happen. It's a terrible play. Now, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, let's hear about you on the Jets 2-5 record. We've got a lot to figure out. We've got to somehow keep the belief in their locker room and start a run. You can't win 10 in a row unless you've won the first one. Here we go, Frankie. We're starting off the 10-win rally cry for Aaron Rodgers on how to keep the belief in the locker room. He says, stop listening to you guys, the media, number one. That's my favorite part, Aaron. Block out all the noise. The fans, the media, block us all out because we don't know anything, right? We don't know what's going on in the locker room. We don't know what's the adversity you guys are dealing with behind the scenes. You lost the head coach because you technically ran him out of the building, but you won't admit it that you did. You brought in your wide receiver and forced the owner to bring him in. And then you decided to, take your offensive coordinator and say, you know what, it's probably not working out right now. Let's give it to Todd Downing. But don't worry. We got it. We're going to block out all the noise. Aaron, when asked on how to handle the adversity better as a team, you got to keep doing the little things. That's what it comes down to for us. So let's talk about those false starts with Garrett Wilson, the false starts with your offensive lineman. Let's talk about the holding penalties. Let's talk about the miscommunications with the wide receivers.
Right? Tonight we were not as penalized as usual. I think we had 4 penalties tonight. So maybe they are getting a little better. Maybe you should look at the bright side a little bit. Maybe you're being a little bit overly negative.
Oh, is that so?
We had 5 penalties. Excuse me. We had 5 penalties tonight for 50 yards. Pittsburgh actually had less penalties than us, so we still couldn't beat a team even when we had 5 penalties, which is pretty average, 5-6 penalties. Sorry, though. I'll let you finish.
No, sorry. Devontae Adams, when he was asked about the Jets offense and how impressive these players are on the offense, he said multiple times in the huddle today, he looked around and was impressed by the players that the Jets feature on offense. He said, damn, that's almost what pisses you off even more, knowing that you have those type of weapons and you come up short. No shit, Devontae. We all feel the same way. These weapons on this offense are insane. But guess what? You guys haven't been able to put it together. You haven't.
The Jets at this point, there's only one thing the Jets have to do at this point. One thing. They have to win 4 NFL games in a row. 4. Not 3, 4. If you can win 4 games in a row, and I came up with that number because I looked at Green Bay last year. That was 2-5 and made the playoffs. I did some calculations. I've been doing a little number crunching. You got to win 4 in a row. Got to beat New England. You got to beat Houston on Halloween night. You got to beat the Cardinals. I have a wedding that day, by the way, but we're going to figure out the post game because I will be on that. We'll figure that out. And you got to beat the Colts. 3 winnable games, right? Can we agree with that? New England's winnable. The Cardinals are winnable. The Colts are winnable. The Texans get lucky, win that. But you got to win those 4. if they lose next week or they beat New England and lose to Houston, it's over. You got to go from 2-5 to 6-5. That's it. If you get to 6-5, then things start making sense. I can't believe I just said that, but listen, it is what it is. What do you want me to tell you? That the team is the worst coached Jets team I've ever seen in my life? You want me to tell you that?
It is.
And that's saying a lot. Adam Gase is a better coach than these guys
It
out
is.
there. Adam Gase is 10 times better than these guys out there. Todd Bowles is 10
Look
times
at
better.
the record.
Herman
Look
Edwards
at
is Vince
the record.
Lombardi you compare to these guys, bro.
Look at the record.
It's just
they don't win,
insane.
Frankie, this is not a winning franchise. This is not a winning football staff at all.
I would,
top to bottom.
Know what? If they miss the playoffs, they have to reset everything. Like when the Texans came around, remember Houston did the draft. They got Tony Baselli and all those guys. They got to fix this from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom. And if the top doesn't want to change everything from down to up until the last person's up top, Woody Johnson, if you're not going to leave or sell the team. That's it. There's no other way. You gotta go from scouting to coaching to offensive assistant coaches to defensive line coaches. You got to reset everything. And I think the team's going to need a really, really good offensive mind to come in here that's going to set a culture to playing quality, football games, to playing good offense, to having a scheme that can work in New York. You're seeing the Giants struggle at MetLife. We've been struggling there. The two most losing teams at home are both of us. It's a tough place to play. The field sucks. The weather sucks. The wind sucks. I'm not making excuses, but I'm like, this team wants to do something. You got to be able to play in these conditions. They don't know how to play in these conditions, man. They get blown out whenever it's cold, whenever it's rough. Pittsburgh, 37 points, really? Even if it's 30 points, don't give them the 7 at the end. 30 points to Russell Wilson and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren and George Pickens. Come on. Yeah, that's not a team that had Super Bowl aspirations coming into the year. You got to be more competitive and you got to finish out games. And you can't shoot yourself in the foot. But I say the same thing every damn week. So I don't know what else to tell you, man. I tweeted I was speechless. Shout outs to the chat. It seems like people have basically the same feels as we do. But this team at this point, Rye, I don't know, man. It's just sad. It's just really freaking sad. Good thing the Yankees put it together last night. Old faithful with that team, huh? They always seem to cheer all us New Yorkers up if you're a Yankees fan, because that's a team. How long has Cashman been there? When Boone, people wanted him to go. Think what you want about him. It's a consistency. There's a consistency, excuse me. It's a mindset. And the Jets don't have it. And until they do, we're going to have good years, but we're going to have a lot more bad years. And we're in a bad stretch right now. The team, I think, needs to look within at the top and figure out what they can do to change the culture. But I always say this, and this is very true, and it's especially true in football. On Sunday, Rye, we're playing another opponent that wants to kick our ass. And they're talking about beating us just like we're talking about us beating them. And to think that you're just going to win games because Aaron's here, because Quinnen Williams is the 5th best PFFD. Because is a 2-timers, which no corner's ever done. They're not going to lay down. They're going to try to get at your ass, especially in prime time. They want everyone to see them kick your ass on prime time, especially. And happened tonight. And it's going to probably happen again. But it's a belief, man. It's a belief. And I don't know what needs to happen, but it's evident something needs to happen. Yeah, shout out to the New York Liberty. Somebody commented they won. You know what's crazy about the Liberty winning? That girl, Sabrina Ionescu, she was 1 of 19 from the field, and they still won. That must be nice. Imagine going 1 of 19. Like, you could have blown the game, but you still ended up winning. You don't seem very amused right now. I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
just
trying. I'm trying to get your mind off the Jets.
I'm so checked out right now on this team.
I brought up the Yankees. I brought up the Liberty. I'm trying to bring up some positive things.
I love what people call me dramatic too. It's like, no, man.
I mean,
I
listen,
live in,
you're not being dramatic. I think you're
I
being
live and
fair.
breathe this team. I literally live and breathe this team, and I've seen it year after year after year. The bullshit, and it's the same bullshit. What's the definition of insanity? You continue to try and do the same thing, and nothing changes, and expect different outcomes. That is what this Jets team is, and I can't stand that our quarterback won't take any accountability. He did not take any accountability after the game. He literally did not admit after the game, I sucked. That's the best part. You just go, well, it starts with game one. You can't win off 10 in a row until you win the first game. In adversity, how do we block it out? We ignore all you, the media. We ignore all you with outside noises. Devontae Adams on your first game didn't execute, didn't finish. That's been the underlying thing with this team this year. No shit. If I could put a banner for the Jets and what this season is surmised as right now is hasn't been executing all year long. That's been the underlying issue. Didn't execute, didn't finish. You haven't executed, you haven't finished, you haven't even started these games, if we're being real. When's the last time this Jets team's ever gotten out to a good start and you're like, man, these guys came out to play today? When have they ever done that? When?
It's just like, I don't understand when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, why don't you put together a coaching staff specifically that can really optimize the Aaron Rodgers experiment? And I'm talking not only from an on the field perspective, I'm talking also off the field. Like, you obviously need a coach that's going to keep him somewhat accountable because he's a little bit of an arrogant mess at times. You're going to need on the field certain players like MVS that are able to take the top off so safeties are dropping back and honoring a deep ball so it opens things up in the middle. Like, you're going to need certain things. And now that the season's going on, Ryan, I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm like, we don't have anything that would have made Aaron into a winner or would have made this team into a winner with him at the helm. There was nothing really there outside of some of the offensive line pieces that we brought in, but they're not playing well. So the one thing that maybe I liked that we did for Aaron was get him Tyron, get him Morgan Moses. We had AVT coming back on the card. This makes sense. Get John Simpson in. That doesn't even make sense because the O-line is pretty average. So it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I don't know what else to say. Last week, I was really pissed because I knew there was a possibility we could lose this game. I thought we should have won last week's game, but you're shooting yourself in the foot over and over again. And at this point, all you can do is hope and pray, man. That's it, because there is nothing in this win-loss record that's going to make you feel good about yourself tomorrow morning. 2-5 is 2-5. We're the 12th team in the AFC. If there's any silver lining, the schedule stinks moving forward. We have the weakest schedule in the NFL for the rest of the season. So, I mean, if you want to take a silver lining there, but yeah, I'm curious how these conversations are going to go. I'm curious what we're going to be talking about in 2 or 3 weeks, because I don't think you know, and I don't know. But all I do know is this team loses the same way every freaking week. It's the same thing every week. It's drops, it's penalties, it's bad field goal execution. It's the same thing. It's Aaron.
Well, they can't return a goddamn punt. Xavier Gibson's fumbling stuff. Isaiah Davis has no business returning kicks. Right? He looks horrible. The Jets defense was not coached up for the moon ball against Russell Wilson today. Looks like they had no idea how to play the ball. Those balls were just floating up like ducks, but that's what Russell Wilson does with the moon ball. He throws it up at such a high arc and then tries to let his receiver make a play. But guess what? The DB has chances to make a play every single time. Those are just toss them up balls and see what happens. And every single time the Steelers receiver came down because the Jets look unprepared, like they had never known that a ball was going to get thrown up that high. Like, oh, I could play the ball? I didn't know that. Jets pass rush, so-so. They let Russell Wilson get out a couple times. Will McDonald was okay, I guess, if you want to take some kind of positive. Quinnen Williams, I think, had his strongest game of the night season so far to this year. Again, hang on. Let me just finish. The Jets overall, like defensively, missed tackles. Couldn't get enough pressure on Russell Wilson, if we're being honest. They got out-schemed a couple times with the play-action bootlegs. They couldn't stop the run again late in the game. And the moon ball killed them, even though they looked like they never even knew what a moon ball was before. That's on coaching. That's on Ulbrich. That's on the defensive line coach. That's on the defensive backs coach. That's on all those guys. That's on preparation. And you didn't get your team prepared tonight. And you let the Steelers score a season high 37 points. A season high, Frankie, what's supposed to be a top 10 defense. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So I have every right to be pissed off as a Jets fan. I have every right to overreact because that is what you're supposed to be making your money on, the defense. And that's what's been a major disappointment on top of the defense, on top of the offense, which has been an absolute joke to start all year long because our quarterback looks like he's washed, if I'm being honest with you. He looks old, he looks slow, and he looks washed. He's missing receivers, and he's making bad decisions over and over in key moments. Shooting yourself in the foot is what you say, Frankie, right? I have nothing else to say. That's it. That's my final statement, man.
I have one question for you. I actually have two questions for you, and we'll wrap this up. How do you fix this season? And two, do you blame the coaches? Do you blame the GM? Or do you blame the players? Let's say A, B, and C. A is the coaches, B is the GM, and C are the players themselves.
Do you want me to cuddle Mary Trash who deserves the most blame?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. To answer your first question, how do you fix it? Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Oh, like
run
tonight.
The ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Take the ball out of Braid's hands. He doesn't deserve to have the ball in his hands right now. That's a straight truth. I'd run the ball 40 times. Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. Just fucking pound the rock. Excuse my language. That's the truth. Aaron Rodgers does not deserve to quarterback this offense right now. It's not working with him. Try and build the offense that way. Build your play action. Try and work your way from the running backs and make it easier on the passing game because the safeties are playing back. They'll let you play one-on-one with these receivers because the receivers aren't creating enough separation. They're not getting explosives down the field. If offensively, how you fix it, you got to run the damn ball. Pound that rock, force those defense to respect the pass a little bit more, and maybe you can create more explosive plays. Secondly, on defense, you need to fucking trade for a defensive tackle. You need a bigger beef up the line because right now Hassan Reddick is not going to fix the Michael Clemens issue. He ain't going to set the edge better than Michael Clemens because Michael Clemens is a joke at setting the edge. He should be benched. That's what I would do. First thing I would do, bench Michael Clemens. You're never seeing the field ever again, buddy. Never. Nope. You're getting cut at the end of the year. He's a liability in every aspect of the game. I'm benching him, and I'm trading for a defensive tackle, some kind of depth piece. Try and stop their run. That's what it starts with, man. They get owned up front. The Jets offensive line gets no push up front, and the Jets defensive line gets pushed 3 yards back. They don't own the line of scrimmage at all. That's how I'd fix it. That's how I would fix this team. And then, honestly, if I was cuddle marrying trash, who deserves the most blame right now for this 2-5 start? I am marrying the coaching because the coaching has been horrendous. It's actually, I would rank it 30th or 31st out of 32 teams because I think the Panthers are the worst coach team in the NFL. I don't think Dave Canales is a good head coach at all. Or actually, I would put the Raiders even worse than the Jets, to be honest with you. But still, Jets are.
I don't know about that.
I would say the Jets are a bottom 3 team in coaching.
Definitely.
So I'm marrying them. I'm cuddling the players. It's on them. They're talented, but they don't perform. They continue to do these mind-numbing mistakes. They continue to have these mind-numbing plays that just go, what the hell was that? Why did we do that? Where are we going with this team? And I would trash the GM for he put the team together. I mean, you could put the paper team together that looks good on paper, and you say it's talented, and your owner says it's the most talented team I've ever seen as a Jets owner. He did, but guess what? They ain't being coached well, and they ain't playing well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you're 100% right. I'll say this, though, man. At this point, you're 2-5. It is what it is. You're in a short window, though. I don't think enough people understand that. You cannot go into a rebuilding mode at this point. You just can't. You can't because of your roster. You can't because of the aging vets on this team. You can't because of the picks you've given up. You can't because you're in a massive playoff drought. That is the worst playoff drought in North American sports. You have to do whatever you can to maximize this year and maximize next year. Now, if you want to make moves at the quarterback, you might look at a quarterback for next year that you could trade for. because quarterbacks become available now, unlike in the past when you really couldn't get a Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr or Rodgers. They're not usually available. They weren't usually available. Now they are. They can become available. But with that being said, you got to maximize this year. Us being 2-5 is not the same as whomever else is 2-5. It's a different situation. So, we're not the Raiders that are 2-5. You know what I mean? We're not the Saints that are 2-5 or the Giants. So there's no rebuilding situation here. You got Adams in. You got Reddick showing up tomorrow. You got Rodgers here. You better figure out how to roll off 3 or 4 in a row. The lucky number is 4. You got to win 4 in a row, and then you can start playing around because you're going to lose games too. This ain't a team that's going to go freaking 7-1. But, again, it happened last year, ironically, by Aaron's old team. And I wonder how those fans are sort of looking at this now. They're probably all laughing at us, saying, we tried to tell you, Jet fans. We tried to tell all you nut jobs about what kind of guy you're bringing in. Maybe we're always a little bit overconfident. We were waiting for this, and it just kind of blew up in our face a little bit. But it's not completely detonated yet. We still got some pieces of the house that are still standing tall, and there could be a rebuilding effort within this year that can help us do something. I mean, you have no other choice, Rye. This isn't, you can't tank this year. Jeff fans that are saying tank for a higher pick, they should have looked at those opportunities or those potential should have made some more mishaps last year to lose that Washington game or not give Brees 37 carries against the freaking Patriots. They're not tanking this year. They're going to be winning as many games as they can. You better believe it. Sells more tickets, sells more merch. Aaron's here for maybe another year, maybe. So Aaron's here. I don't know. You understand that, right? Like he's the most important person in the New York Jets offices at Florham Park. When he walks in, he's numero uno, number one. He's probably more important than the owner too, to some people. He's the most important person at Florham. So until he says he's leaving, he's not going to leave. He's got to want to leave. He's not leaving because he's listening to you tomorrow morning. Rip him a new one. He's here, and you better get used to it because he's not going anywhere for at least another 3 months. And I think it's going to be more, and I think it's going to be even more. If you want my honest opinion, it's what you signed up for. Or not you, technically. It's what we signed up for. The Jets. You signed up for this. You convinced him to come here, and he had all his, systems laid out. I need my OC here. I need my wide receivers here. I need total control in certain ways, and you signed up for it. You signed that deal, and now you're seeing how it's going to work out. But again,
we got to wrap this up. This up. It's over.
It is what it is.
It's over. Season's over. We look forward to
last post game.
No, not last post game. We'll do this again next week after the Patriots game, where the Jets will definitely blow them out. But I really don't care. This team has sucked the will out of me. Thank you all for watching. Gangsville here, post game live show. Appreciate all you in the chat and the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Frankie and I will be back next week. We'll be talking Jets Patriots. We'll overanalyze that one. I'll try not to overreact to that one like I did tonight, but who cares? Thanks. Go Jets, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.